Yo, what's up everybody? As a long-time MMO and ARPG player, I never really got into RuneScape, but for the first time a couple of months ago, I gave OSRS a try, and I got completely hooked. I played it non-stop for like a month and a half, and I made like 5 or 6 videos on this channel going over it, and it is an incredible game, and I would fully recommend anyone who hasn't tried it to give it a try. And then this week, as I was launching up OSRS, I look and there's a notification that RuneScape is having its first ever league. And if you have a subscription to OSRS, you can play this for free. So I thought I'd jump in and have a go. And this is based upon the new version of RuneScape, RuneScape 3, the evolving, graphically enhanced, modern day MMO. So I thought I'd jump on, give it a try. I've never played RuneScape 3 before. I've never played a league before. And I was just curious if it was any good. We are now on day 4 of this league, and I have played way too much. I've got over 1,000 total skill points. I've leveled like lots of the new skills that aren't in OSRS. They're like new to RuneScape 3. I've done my first boss, and overall, I'm just really surprised at how fun this league mechanic thing is, and how good RuneScape is as a MMO, like how much content there is to do that is genuinely enjoyable. So that's what I want to talk about today, because I don't think this is getting enough recognition in the MMO space to people that haven't played RuneScape before to come and try it, because it's genuinely a really good experience, and it's really fun as a new player. So let's get straight into it. So first up, for those that don't know, what is a league? Well, this is, I believe, RuneScape's first ever league, and it's called the Catalyst League. They usually do these leagues in OSRS, but this is the first one, I believe, in the new updated version of the game. The way the league works is you create a new character, and it works like a season. If you played ARPGs, it's like a season. It's like a bunch of new stuff on a seasonal server. So you go on, you make a new character, and everything on that server is like boosted. It's like boosted XP, boosted drops, and it's like a fast progression way to play the game. And the league is driven by this task system. There are tasks for pretty much everything in the game. From the very start, do your first Slayer task, catch your first shrimp, drop your first tree. And then it gets even harder and the tasks get more challenging, like fight your first boss, defeat 5 green dragons, things like that. And it goes to like make a really good piece of armor that needs like 60 smithing, things like that. And the more you do, the more task points you get. And then as you hit certain milestones, you can unlock relics. So there are multiple tiers of relics, and the more task points you get to the next tier of relic. And every time you hit a new tier of relic, you get 2 things. You get to choose a new relic, and you get a bunch of new passives for that tier. So for example, tier 1, you can choose to go into like mining and archaeology, you can go into hunting and fishing, or you can go into chopping trees and something else. And that gives you loads of new things for those activities. So for example, I went with the mining one. And as you mine, your bars get auto-smelted. Your ore gets auto-smelted into bars and then teleported to your bank, which is just incredible, like such a massive quality of life. Considering you also have a XP boost for mining, you just fly through the levels. And then on top of that, every time you hit a new tier, you get a bunch of passives like more XP boosts, more quality of life, things like that, more like rares drop even at a higher rate. So the more, so that's how leagues work. But is RuneScape fun? Is RuneScape 3 even worth playing? That's what I want to talk about. If you've looked into the 2 games, you'll know that OSRS is super popular, massive community, there's videos, loads of streamers, it's very, very popular. But then you look at RuneScape and it doesn't seem like it's doing as well, or like it has as big a community. So I came into this thinking this was the worst version of the game, and to lower my expectations really. But I've been pleasantly surprised. There are big differences, firstly, in how the games feel. And obviously there's this boosted server from the league, but generally you can feel some big differences. The first big difference is combat. So this is treated very much like a traditional modern day MMO, like World of Warcraft, where you have a skill bar, and as you level up, you get more and more skills, different weapons, different skills. You've got cones, cleaves, stuns, rolls, all this stuff. So it's very action involved, and there's a lot going on even from the start of the game. Even when you're fighting like goblins in Lumbridge, there's stuff you can be pressing, which is very different from OSRS, where your first 20, 30, 50 hours is just auto-attacking mobs and seeing who goes down first, you or them, until you get to like the later game and bosses, and you're involved with like potions and weapon switching and switching your protect from melee range, that kind of thing, positioning, until you get there where it does get challenging. And I would say that kind of sums up my thoughts on the game. It's more fun, it's more engaging, and it's more visually interesting to watch, but it doesn't feel as rewarding. It doesn't feel as challenging, and it doesn't feel as intense. The only other big difference is the game feels easier and less hardcore and like more approachable for new players. For example, things like the wilderness in OSRS are hot zones. They're high risk, high reward, full PvP. You walk in there, get ready to get someone running at you. You know, it's a very dangerous place. Whereas in RuneScape 3, you can just go in the wilderness and quest. You can fight the dragons in there, the hard monsters. You can use use your bones in there. You can do pretty much everything in there completely safe because there's a PvP flag or toggle or something. I've been in there and seen no PvP, so it seems completely safe. Additionally, lots of the quests, I've done quests in OSRS that were very slow and challenging and took me hours and hours and hours. The same quests in RuneScape 3 took about 15 minutes because you can move faster, you have more damage, there's no item requirements. It just seems like everything is on easy mode. But is RuneScape 3 fun? Yes, absolutely. It's so much fun. There's tons of quests. There's still hundreds of quests. There is tons of skills. There are new skills in this game that aren't in OSRS. There's like archaeology, where you join like a team of archaeologists and you go to these dig sites and you have to go and work for the dig sites, and you go to these things and you dig up these hotspots and you find these ancient damaged items, and then you get these other materials and you repair them and you try and fill out the archaeology catalog, and it's just really enjoyable. On top of that, as you go to these places, you can like use archaeology to discover mysteries and uncover hidden zones and hidden dungeons and then explore them, and it's genuinely a really, really, really fun skill. I've really enjoyed that one. There's divination, no idea how that even works. There's dungeoneering, which is this new random dungeon system where you can go in alone or with friends, and it's like you go in with no gear and you go into a randomized dungeon with randomized rooms and you use your skills to overcome them. So there's monsters and bosses, and then if you find, you can mine ore in there and craft gear if the room has ore in it. If you manage to find a certain thing in there that has skill, like you can pick a lock, or you can get into a room that has a herb and you can create a potion. So it's really interesting, and it's a really good way to tie all the other skills together. I don't know, generally there's just lots to do that you might not have played before. On top of that, there just feels like there's new content just everywhere. And apologies if some of this is in OSRS, I just haven't seen it yet, but there's like this every 15-30 minutes there is a message of something happening, like monsters spawning and overrunning a zone, like spiders or some other like big creatures are taking over a zone. There's something falls in the wilderness and you can go and mine it, and there's like everyone goes together to try and mine it as fast as possible, and there's just loads of events happening. Sinkholes appearing that you can go do. There's lots of things you can just go and do with other people, which kind of does bring in the MMO feel, which is really nice. There was one system where you can go and build a farm. You literally have to like go and raise animals like chickens and cows and sheep, and you bring them to the farm and you have to build a pen, feed them, and then you could do quests there, which is really cool. And then as you're in the world, if you have the hunting skill, there is a chance for animals to drop that you can then take back to your farm, which again, it's just a random thing you can stumble upon in the world and go and do. There's a fort that you can get involved in building, and you go and hire people to help you run this fort, and you're in charge of, you know, building and crafting and creating this giant fort outside Varrock. So overall, I'm very impressed with just the volume of content. And I do think there is an element of the volume that is too much. It does feel at times like there's too much. You're walking from one place to another, and every single 2 steps, there's something new, someone to click on, something to do. It does feel a bit too busy in some areas, but for an MMO, having too much to do is rarely a bad thing. Okay, so let's cut to the chase. Should you play RuneScape Catalyst League? Why should you try it? Why should you maybe not? So first up, the task and relic system is phenomenal. It is an incredible way to experience an MMO that you haven't tried before. As someone who's playing an MMO, I haven't played before. It starts at like a 6x multiplier, and it goes up past 10. I think it was like 12 or something. So the multiplier on the skill progression is wild. You can hit like a tree and gain 3 levels early on. It is just so much progression that you get to experience all of the game in a short space of time. On top of that, the task system helps you guide you as a new player. Additionally, this makes you play on an Iron Man account. It makes you play a system where there's no grand exchange, there's no trading. You are playing it with your own skills and abilities and seeing what you can do. Because of how much progression, how much you can boost each thing, if you could just give all that away, everyone would just be super powered in like a day. So yeah, it's like everyone's an Iron Man, which is exciting if you haven't played Iron Man before. I haven't, so it was pretty cool. When it comes to like, I want to make some potions. You don't just go and buy them off the Grand Exchange. You have to go, okay, well, how can I get them? Well, for my second relic, I'm going to get Farming Frenzy relic. And that means crops grow instantly. So how am I going to get how am I going to get seeds? Well, I'll go and, nab them from the farming stall, or I'll go find the master farmers, and I'll get them from them. And then I'll go plant a seed. It instantly grows, and I get a bunch of herbs. And then I can clean them and make potions. Where do I get vials? It's very interesting playing like that if you haven't before, especially in a server that isn't as punishing because everything's so fast. And then the last reason I would say to come and give this a go is just the volume of content. There are tons of endgame bosses, tons of drops to go and chase, and we have boosted drop chances, more chance of things to drop. So you get that endorphin hit more, faster. So there's tons of stuff to do, loads of new skills to level, and it's just fun. That's all I can really say. It's just lots of fun doing that. But why may this not be worth trying or not for you? The number one reason I can see, and it's like a little thought in the back of my head that I have to keep pushing away, is that nothing matters, okay? So because this is a league, it's a seasonal server, it's only open for a couple of months. You go in, you go zoom as fast as you can, you try and hit endgame, get all of the cool stuff, try and hit the top of the leaderboard and any goals that you want to achieve, any parts of the game you want to see, and then after you've achieved all those goals, you get certain rewards to take back to the full game. But that's it. I don't think it's saved. I don't think you keep all of these super juiced boosted rewards, because that wouldn't be fair to players on the normal realm. I think that's how it works, and that's something that is definitely going to be a turn off to lots of people. When it comes to some of these achievements and some of these quests, you might not want to do them a second time. So that's something. And the other is, if you are looking for that hardcore, super high risk, slow, rewarding, like classic WoW, OSRS, you're not going to see that in RuneScape 3, and you're not going to see that on this league. So that would be a turn off, I'd say. But yeah, generally I'd say give this a try. If you have any interest in MMOs, any interest in OSRS, I think this is worth trying. I'm having much more fun than I thought. I really wasn't expecting to play this for more than a few hours. So I wanted to cover it. I wanted to shed some light on it and, shine some positives on a game that I don't think has had much praise lately. But yeah, that's it from me. Thank you for watching. If you like this style of video, do consider subscribing to the channel. Let me know your experience. I'm just leave that open. Let me know your experience in anything we've talked about in this video. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.